Everyone, and welcome. Today, we are going to tear apart a piece of advice that we've all had hammered into us our entire lives. It's a simple little phrase that seems to promise the world, the idea that knowledge is power.
Yeah, you know the one. Knowledge is power. We've all heard it, we've probably all said it. I mean, it sounds right, it feels right, but what if it's not just wrong? What if it's actually holding you back?
Let's really get into this. Because if you ask Napoleon Hill, that simple little phrase might be one of the most dangerous myths out there. The idea that just knowing things is enough could literally be the wall standing between you and your biggest goals.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to completely dismantle that myth. First, we'll look at why it's a trap. Then, we'll redefine knowledge for what it really is, potential power. After that, I'll give you the exact formula to turn that potential into actual power, show you how to supercharge it with something called a mastermind, and then we'll wrap up with how you can make all this work for you right now.
All right, first up, the myth itself. You see, Napoleon Hill saw that millions of people were stuck on this idea. They go through life just collecting facts, getting degrees, reading tons of books, thinking that if they just cram enough information into their brain, success will just happen. But it almost never does, right?
And this gets to the heart of Hill's critique of the entire education system. He said there's a huge missing link. Our schools are amazing at packing our heads full of knowledge, but they often completely skip the most important part, what to do with it. They don't teach us how to organize that knowledge and actually use it.
And because of that failure, we have to completely rethink what knowledge even is. It's not the prize at the end of the race. No, it's just the raw material. It's only potential.
You know, think of it like a car battery sitting on a garage shelf. It is packed with potential energy, right? But on its own, it does absolutely nothing. It only becomes real power when you connect it to an engine, when it's organized into a plan of action and aimed at a very specific goal. Without that plan, without that purpose, all that knowledge is just trivia. And this really splits people into two camps. On one side, you've got the fact hoarder, the person who collects information but never builds anything with it. And on the other, you have the effective architect. I mean, look at Henry Ford. The guy had less than a sixth-grade education, but he knew how to find and organize the specialized knowledge of other people into a clear plan to build an automotive empire. He wasn't a man of knowledge, he was a master of applied knowledge. Okay, so if all our knowledge needs a plan, how in the world do you actually create one? Well, guess what? There's a formula for it. This is the practical, step-by-step bridge that takes you from just knowing stuff to actually achieving things.
It's really just a simple three-step process. First, you gotta realize you don't need to know everything. You just need to figure out and get the specialized knowledge that's crucial for your one big goal. Step 2, you organize that knowledge into a definite, practical plan. Not some vague dream, I'm talking a step-by-step blueprint. And third, you aim that plan straight at your goal and you apply it again and again, consistently, until you get there.
Now here's the best part. You don't have to do any of this alone. In fact, Hill was convinced that nobody achieves massive success on their own. And he introduced this incredible concept to basically supercharge the whole process, the mastermind.
So, what is a mastermind? Well, think of it like a strategic alliance. It's when you and one or more other people coordinate your knowledge and your effort, all working together in harmony, to achieve a single, definite purpose. Hill said when you do this, something truly amazing happens. You get two massive benefits. The first one is the obvious one, the economic advantage. You instantly get access to the experience, the education, the contacts of everybody else in the group. But the second benefit, that's where the real magic is. Hill called it the psychic phase. Basically, a new, invisible third mind is born from the group's harmony. It's a creative spark, a level of insight that no single person could ever reach on their own. So what does this look like in real life? Well, there's this perfect case study from Hill's work that just ties it all together beautifully. It's about a mother whose son, a fresh college graduate, just could not land a job. But instead of just telling him to send out more resumes, she helped him apply this exact philosophy. Just look at what she did here. This is brilliant. She didn't just list his degree on a piece of paper. She took all his raw potential knowledge, his skills, his education, his life experiences, and she organized it. She had him research the company, its rivals, and create a detailed plan, not just for how he'd get the job, but for how he would excel in it. He even came up with a half-dozen valuable suggestions for the company. This wasn't a resume. It was a nearly 50-page strategic plan.
And the result? It was mind-blowing. He nailed the job in his very first interview, at a salary that he himself named, and started as a junior executive. Hill figured that this one planned presentation of organized knowledge probably shaved 10 years off his career path. That is the difference between potential power and real actual power.
So let's bring this all back to you. How do we take this incredible principle and actually make it work in our own lives? Well, it really just boils down to a major shift in how you think, and then a commitment to taking action.
Okay, here are the key takeaways. First, stop being a fact hoarder. From this moment on, your new mantra is applied knowledge is power. Second, organize every important thing you learn into a definite plan aimed at a specific goal. Third, go find your mastermind group to multiply your knowledge and your effort. Because at the end of the day, your true value is never determined by what you know, it's determined by what you do with what you know.
And that really just leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Just consider all the knowledge, the skills, the experiences you already have right now. What potential power have you collected that's just sitting there, dormant, waiting for you to give it a plan of action and bring it to life?